Good morning, Ajahns. Good morning, Aya. Good morning to everyone who is here at the BSV today, as well as online listeners. I'll first start by introducing the Ajahns who are here. Ajahn Nissarano is the senior bhikkhu representative of the Buddhist Society of Victoria and residing in Newbury Buddhist Monastery. And Ajahn Sadaro is the current resident monastic at the BCM, which is the BSV City Centre. And Bhante Nivato is currently spending the Vasa season at the Newbury Buddhist Monastery. And if I go into the Ayas to introduce the Ayas who are here, Aya Upeka is the senior bhikkhuni representative of the Buddhist Society of Victoria and resides at the Newbury Buddhist Monastery. Aya Sankappa, who is the resident bhikkhuni at the Newbury Buddhist Monastery, as well as Aya Sunyata, who is a resident monastic at the Newbury Buddhist Monastery. Today is a very special day. Today is Ajahn Brahm's birthday, and it's being a Sunday, all the Newbury monastic have joined us to celebrate together Ajahn Brahm's birthday, and it's a special day. Ajahn Brahm has a long-standing affiliation with the Buddhist Society of Victoria. From the year 1991, Ajahn Brahm has been visiting the Buddhist Society of Victoria along with Ajahn Jagro, who was the abbot at the Buddhist Society of Western Australia, Perth, at the time. In 1995, Ajahn Brahm became the abbot of the Buddhist Society of Victoria, which is the BSWA, and since been the spiritual advisor to the Buddhist Society of Victoria. Over the last 27 years, Ajahn Brahm has been making special visits to the BSV at least once a year to offer live teachings to the BSV community and the wider community. During Ajahn Brahm's visits to the BSV, he would always find the time to include separate Dhamma reflections to the teens groups, the Sunday school children, and the citizen group. Besides that, he would give town hall talks to the wider community. Ajahn Brahm also during the COVID period offered numerous Zoom sessions, and he never forgot the Buddhist Society of Victoria. He always looks after the Buddhist Society of Victoria as the spiritual leader. Ajahn Brahm gives immense support for the Newbury Buddhist Monastery project. From the makings of NBM in 2014, Ajahn has been ever so generous with his time, energy, and tirelessly supports the BSV to make the Newbury Monastery project a success. And today, while we are all here gathered today, as a community, in person and also with us, the BSV online community from faraway lands, we jointly extend our gratitude for Ajahn Brahm's continuous flow of kindness and generosity in wishing Ajahn Brahm a very happy 71st birthday. Happy birthday, Ajahn Brahm. Thank you. And I now give the mic over to Savitri to request. No,
now we have the
messages. Ajahn will give an address then. Thank you.
So welcome to Buddha Loka Centre today, a very special day, and I hope you have a very enjoyable day and a celebratory day for Ajahn Brahm's 71st birthday. So I won't say very much because I think Chinta's covered quite a lot there, which is great. That's good. So just to a birthday message for Ajahn Brahm. I did this as a video actually for Jhana Grove. That's where they're celebrating it in Western Australia today. So you're getting it before Jhana Grove. So dear Ajahn Brahm, thank you so much for your wholehearted support for such a long time. It's incredible. It gives 100% for sure. For the nuns, the monks, and the lay men and lay women at Newbury Monastery. And it's been such an encouragement and an inspiration for us that we can do it, because the BSV needs that inspiration too, because it's a big project, especially the Newbury is a big project, but especially the Meditation Retreat Centre, which is currently under construction and will be finished, we hope, on the 6th of March 2023, so not so long. And without your support, it would have been impossible for us to get this far so soon. So this is wonderful. And of course we remember, and I think Achinta has touched on it, that his contribution, his tireless support for us spiritually as well as materially, and you've touched on the material as well, because he's been a spiritual guide for us, hasn't he? You know, a Kalyana Mitta, we say, and which has nourished the Newbury Buddhist community and also the BSV as well. And he's been guiding us along the Noble Eightfold Path. And it's great to have someone with that experience, that depth of understanding to guide us, to bring it to life. And also he's such a good role model for us of kindness, humour, generosity and wisdom, isn't he? He's just incredible. And it's lovely. That's the important thing with a Kalyana Mitta, spiritual guide, spiritual friend, is they are an example of those qualities that we can develop, that we need to develop, good qualities. And also to thank him very much, Bhante or Ajahn Brahm, for your material support, which has been much needed. And including today the funds that are raised from auctions, the online auction from Hong Kong, and also a live auction at Jhana Grove. And I think they're having a function too in Singapore today as well. So, and it's made it possible to build particularly the new monk section in 2020 and the retreat centre, which is currently under construction. So I'd like to finish with a traditional monk's birthday chant. You probably haven't heard this monk's birthday chant. It's in English, so many monks haven't heard it like this either, which is usually chanted at ordinations of a monk in the Thai tradition. We do it all the time at Bodhinyana when a monk ordained, you know, even at Samanera ordination, also Anagaric ordination, and the bhikkhu ordination. So this is it. May you realize the goal, be happy and flourish in the Buddha's teachings. May you be happy and healthy together with all your relatives. There we are. We'll be revisiting that later and you can join in then. So dear Ajahn Brahm, if you count your age according to your monk's birthday, because we have our birthdays according to the number of rains retreats we've spent. So this one, you'll only be 48. But that's really something, to be 48 years or 48 vasas as a monk, arranged retreats. That is really impressive. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And now I can hand over to Ayurupeka, I think, if she wants to deliver a message too.
Thank you, Ajahn. You have already covered everything, so I'll make it short and sweet. So to Ajahn Brahm, whether it's your birthday or not your birthday, the most important thing for us to be grateful, to show gratefulness to you, is for us monastics and lay who are all under your spiritual guidance to practice the Dhamma, and for monastics the Vinaya as well, and for all of us to go into meditation practice as you have always emphasized. That is the only way we can show our gratefulness to you. And of course, everyone is wishing Ajahn a happy birthday. We would like to take this opportunity to invite Ajahn to be with us for as long as possible. And during those periods of time that you're with us, may you be always well and healthy. Happy birthday, Ajahn, from all of us here today. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So now, sure, this program, maybe it would have been good to see it before, and you can see that what's happening this morning. And now the next item is this montage, video clips of Ajahn Brahm in Melbourne. I saw some photos I don't think are in Melbourne. And then we will have, after that, the taking of the 3 refuges and 5 precepts, a guided meditation, some chanting, then the Dhamma talk. And then after the Dhamma talk, dedicating the merit. And of course, just as Ayurupeka was saying, we really honour and respect a teacher by practicing what they teach. So this practice, of course, is not only the meditation, but keeping the sila. This will be the 3 refuges and 5 precepts, and of course guide and the meditation as well. So now, on for the, I haven't seen this one yet, the video clip. Next one. And I think that's it.
I gave a talk a few days ago, I think a week ago in Perth, ultimate reality. People thought, wow, that's interesting, but it's never what you expect. I said, ultimate reality is not a bunch of ideas or dogmas. It's emotions, feelings. Peace, freedom is not an idea. It's a feeling, an emotion, a mental state. So liberate your mind by feeling what liberation must feel like.
Etancha sambalokasmi manasam
Bhavaye aparimanam uttam alochatiriyam cha sampadam averam asapattam titam charam nisino sayano ayavatasa Ekam sating aditya brahmametam viharam idamahuti.
We love you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why it is at my age. I'm not handsome. People like taking photographs of people. That's right. Happy birthday. Do people like taking photographs of you? Have a look. Come on.
Yeah. Very nice.
Hopefully. Ah, that's right.
Hi, this is Ajahn Brahm here, talking from Bodhinyana Monastery in Perth. And this is a message, it's weird, but a message wishing all of you many happy returns on my birthday. This year I'm 71, and even though I'm 71, I'm still in incredible, amazing health for what a 71-year-old could be. And I always think that on birthdays, we shouldn't accept gifts, but we should give gifts for others. And so that's why every year, for a long time now, I've been making sure whatever people ask me, what do you want, Ajahn Brahm, it's never anything personal, but it's something which I can share with others. And of course, you all know, the reason I'm saying this for the Buddhist Society of Victoria, that for so many years that I've been supporting the Buddhist Society of Victoria so that you can get something like the wonderful facilities we have here in Perth. A nice retreat centre, a place where monks and nuns can practice in peace and harmony. And because of this, I have been working really hard trying to raise funds for the last part of stage 2A of the retreat centre project so that I can go there and teach meditation retreats. And Ajahn Brahm can go up there and teach meditation retreats in a place which is conducive. To get some nice deep meditation, you do need conducive facilities, a place where you can stay comfortably. And importantly, a places where people who are sick can go on a 9-day retreat. I've had so many wonderful experiences teaching people with things like cancer and seeing that cancer vanish. It was weird, but I've seen it. And that's why I wanted to share that as much as possible with other people. Now, with the people over in NBM in Victoria. Yeah, it's a hard thing to do, but I never allow sort of negativity to stop making sure that we continue and finish this project. And of course, when I go over there and teach a retreat in Newbury Buddhist Monastery Retreat Centre, that gives me so much happiness and joy. So this is my gift for each one of you, the ability to have a really good meditation retreat centre where you can practice the Dhamma and the meditation according to how the Buddha taught. And you can develop deep states of meditation and get that peace, that joy, that health for the whole of the community over on the East Coast. It's still a lot of work to be done, but I think I can guarantee that once that retreat centre is completed, wow, it'll be one of the best assets in Victoria there's ever been. So that's my gift on my birthday to you. So I wish you many happy returns of my birthday. May all be well and happy, and see you soon.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Isn't that lovely? I think. No. Oh, that's it. Good. And so now is the time to offer our practice as to Ajahn Brahm, to honour and respect him by practicing what he encourages us to practice. And so the very important part is, of course, the morality, ethical behaviour, ethical conduct. So now I will ask Savitri if she wouldn't mind requesting the 3 refuges and 5 precepts. We'll do it in English, so that and those online, of course, please join in as well.
Venerable Sir, we do seek from you for individual observance the 5 precepts along with 3 gems. For the second time, Venerable Sir, we do seek from you for individual observance the 5 precepts along with 3 gems. For the third time, Venerable Sir, we do seek from you for individual observance the 5 precepts along with 3 gems.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So I will do the Namo Tassa in English 3 times, and then if you'd like to repeat it, and then we can do the refuges line by line. I will say it, and the precepts as well. Homage to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the rightly awakened One. Homage to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the rightly awakened One. Homage to him, the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the rightly awakened One. Can you say? I go to the Buddha for refuge. I go to the teachings for refuge. I go to the noble monastics for refuge. For the second time I go to the fully awakened one for refuge. For the second time I go to the teachings for refuge. For the second time I go to the noble monastics for refuge. For the third time I go to the fully awakened one for refuge. For the third time I go to the teachings for refuge. For the third time I go to the noble monastics for refuge. This completes the going for refuge. It's usually, yes, Venerable Sir. Yes, Venerable. There we are. And now we can do the precepts line by line. I undertake the training rule to refrain from taking life. I undertake the training rule to refrain from stealing. I undertake the training rule to refrain from sexual misconduct. I undertake the training rule to refrain from false speech. I undertake the training rule to refrain from intoxicating drinks and substances that reduce clarity of mind. Sadhu, 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 that's good. Just a hard one, that last one. It's quite a lot. So, and now I think the next item is, that's later. So the next item will be the guided meditation for showing gratitude to Ajahn Brahm on his birthday. So this is a guided meditation about developing that spiritual quality of gratitude. And we're focusing today, because of the Ajahn Brahm's 71st birthday, on Ajahn Brahm. And of course, this is wonderful to have that gratitude to all of our spiritual guides, spiritual friends, those that have helped us in our spiritual development. So we can begin by finding a comfortable posture, if you're not already comfortable. There's not much leeway, actually. And we can close the eyes and just remind ourselves that for this short time of the meditation, there's nothing we need to do, and there's nowhere we need to go. We just to be here now is enough. So we're letting go of the past, all the things we've been doing up to this moment, and the future, letting go of what will happen after this. And we begin by giving attention to the body, just making any adjustments that we need to make it comfortable. Maybe moving the shoulders to make so they relax. Just feeling a sense of balance in the body. And for a few moments, we can mentally relax the body, starting at the top of the head, the sides of the head and the back of the head. Giving the body this kind, gentle, warm attention. And I often call it a mental massage. And so we can individually go through the parts of the body, the head, the neck, the right shoulder, right arm, left shoulder, left arm, the back and the front, and then the right leg and the left leg. Just giving this warm, kind attention, this mental massage. And now we can bring to mind Ajahn Brahm. We can visualize Ajahn Brahm as a spiritual friend, a spiritual guide for us. And we can remember an occasion where we either met him or we saw him that comes to mind. It might be in person, you actually met him, or online. And we can get in contact with the feeling that comes to mind when we remember that meeting, whether in person or online. And maybe it's a feeling of thanks or of inspiration, respect, faith, joy, humour, always humour, or maybe a quality that we felt about Ajahn Brahm, say metta, friendliness, kindness. And in our minds, we can say to Ajahn Brahm, thank you so much for all that you have given us, for your teachings, for your guidance, for us as individuals, and for the Buddhist Society of Victoria. All these years is a long time. And thank you for your example, being a role model for us. And thank you for your humour, which has lightened our hearts and minds. And thank you for the occasions that your teaching has really touched people and saved their lives, they say. And of course, thank you so much for your material support in building Newbury Buddhist Monastery. And we can get in contact with this feeling of thankfulness, of gratitude, and fill ourselves with this feeling. Fill the body and the mind with this warm feeling of gratitude. This happiness within. And we can breathe in this feeling of thankfulness or gratitude. Breathe it in, and we can breathe it out to the world. Breathing in gratitude and breathing it out gratitude. And we can have a mantra if we wish. So, awesome breathing in, awesome breathing out, or marvellous, or sadhu. Whatever word is appropriate for you. Breathing in gratitude and breathing it out to the world, to Ajahn Brahm. And if the feeling reduces, we can just bring to mind that memory of meeting Ajahn Brahm or seeing Ajahn Brahm that sticks in our minds. To bring up that feeling of thankfulness, gratitude. And in our minds, we can see ourselves offering this feeling of gratitude, of thankfulness to Ajahn Brahm. And in our minds we can say to him, Dear Ajahn Brahm, we offer our practice of the precepts and meditation today and on previous occasions to you, out of enormous gratitude and respect. May you have a long life, good health, and the highest happiness. And may you continue to teach and inspire us for a very long time to come. Ajahn Brahm. And we can slowly come out of meditation when I ring the bell 3 times. So we can open the eyes slowly and make adjustments to the body. So move ourselves to be comfortable. And so the next item on this special, I saw it advertised in Western Australia as the birthday bonanza. I thought that was quite funny. So the next item is the chanting, and it's a chanting for Ajahn Brahm. And this chanting is, of course, a lot of these chants are very dear to Ajahn Brahm, especially the first two, the Buddha's words on loving kindness. He often uses quotes from the English translation in his Dhamma talks. And the second one is a couple of verses from the Ratna Sutta, his very favourite sutta, which focuses on the qualities of a stream enterer. But these 2 verses, I hadn't seen them in translation for a long time, and they're very inspiring. And then we have the monk's birthday chant after that 3 times. So please, it's for everyone to join in, including you, on the people who are watching this online. So everybody here in the hall, the monastics here, will join in the chanting together. For Ajahn Brahm's birthday, a little gift for him. There we are. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward, gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to wrong views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu. Those who strived well with a firm mind, who are desireless in Gautama's teaching, have reached attainment, having plunged into the deathless, enjoying perfect peace, obtain free of charge. This too is the sublime gem in the Sangha. By this truth may there be safety. The old is destroyed. There is no new origination. Their minds are dispassionate toward future existence, with seeds destroyed, with no desire for growth. Those wise ones are extinguished like this lamp. This too is the sublime gem in the Sangha. By this truth may there be safety. And the last, the monk's birthday chant. May you realize the goal, be happy and flourish in the Buddha's teachings. May you be happy and healthy together with all your relatives. May you realize the goal, be happy and flourish in the Buddha's teaching. May you be happy and healthy together with all your relatives. May you realize the goal, be happy and flourish in the Buddha's teachings. May you be happy and healthy together with all your relatives. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So that is the chanting dedicated to Ajahn Brahm today. And so now the time is for the Dhamma talk. It's going to be a little bit abbreviated, I feel, because we have much less time. So very good. And so the Dhamma talk is about showing our gratitude to Ajahn Brahm on the occasion of his 71st birthday. So this is an important thing for us to develop gratitude in any shape or form regarding all the things that we have in life is a very useful, very wholesome emotion, and one that brings happiness to us. Ajahn Brahm calls it free happiness. So it's something we should develop as much as possible. And of course, I'll talk about it in give some idea of gratitude and then focus on Ajahn Brahm towards the end of that. Because gratitude, of course, is an emotion. And as you sort of gathered from the short video with Ajahn Brahm talking about ultimate reality, yes, our lives are about feelings. And they're either about negative feelings or positive feelings, aren't they? The negative ones we don't get anything out of. And also they give us a lot of trouble and give trouble to others as well. So this emotion of gratitude is very positive. And something that can enrich the meditation for sure, and our lives, both of them. Because whatever qualities we develop in meditation, and this is where it's like a reconditioning process, we can take into daily life. Maybe it's a bit more peace, maybe it's a bit more kindness, friendliness, or joy, or inspiration, or understanding, wisdom. And so these create new habits in the mind, positive habits in the mind, which will bring us happiness and well-being. So as I mentioned, gratitude is a feeling, is an emotion, is a feeling. And the Buddha called it katanyuta. And it's mentioned in the Mangala Sutta, the famous Mangala Sutta. So we have garavo, garavo, Nivato, Santuti, Chakatan, Yuta. It's mentioned in other places too. The Mangala Sutta is a list of 36 different qualities, blessings in our lives, and this is one of them. A great blessing if we can have this mind that is grateful, because it will bring us happiness and well-being. And it's really grateful for what we have received from others, from life, from situations in our life, from our spiritual friends like Ajahn Brahm, spiritual guides. It's a sense of appreciating what we have and those relationships that we find ourselves in, and a sense of thankfulness. And I do a guided meditation on this. It's a feeling of being so lucky, and feeling of being blessed. And of course we have then the old sort of English saying of counting our blessings. This is very much brings up a sense of thankfulness. And of course it's very obvious that it's an antidote to that mind that says, oh no, this is terrible, that's no good, and I'm no good, the world's no good, and my relationship's no good. Instead we look at those good qualities that exist, all the things that we do have in our relationships, in our situations in life. And so it's a very good way not to take those in our life for granted, whether it be the people or situations or things that we have. Often in our lives, the sense of what we have, the gratitude for what we really already have, is overshadowed by our list of things that we feel we have to get, we need, we want, that will bring us happiness. And we forget quite often there's so much to be grateful for. And because recently people have been asking for Nasrudin stories, I have to have a Nasrudin story at this stage. And this is a story about Nasrudin when he met a traveller, and this traveller was totally bored with life. I think in English we say ennui, which is a French word. And he met him on the road, and he said to Nasrudin, nothing interests me in life, and the only reason I'm travelling is because it's not as boring. I don't have to work, and I'm looking for something more interesting in life. And then Nasrudin, being totally unpredictable, he grabbed his travelling bag of this person he just met and ran off with it. He ran into the bush and took a few shortcuts, got back onto the road and put the bag on the road and waited for the traveller. Traveller was absolutely in despair. He was really distressed because this bag had everything he needed in it. And so he's coming along the road feeling terrible, and this awful person that had just robbed him and taken everything he had in the world. And then he comes around the corner and he saw the bag on the road and he's totally overjoyed. And then Nasrudin comes out of the bush and he says, are you still bored? And that's very true for all of us, actually. It says something about gratitude, actually, because often we take people and things in our lives for granted. But when they're not there, when they've gone, when somebody's passed away, when they've travelled somewhere else, then we really appreciate them. And we can actually use this idea of separation, of being parted from those people and those situations in our lives to bring up the sense of gratitude. Because in reality, one day, we will all be parted from each other. We will be parted from those situations that we find in life. We will be parted from all those possessions that we have in this life. So it can bring up gratitude, gratefulness. And it does, does remind me of an occasion that I had when I was newly ordained. I had this dream. In this dream, Ajahn Brahm had died, and I think I was worried that he wouldn't be around, and this feeling of like the monastery like being so empty, like a deserted town or something. It had this really desolate feeling to it because he wasn't there, and it reminded me, of course, when I woke up, of Venerable, what the Buddha said when Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Mahamoggallana, the two chief monks of the Buddha, when they had passed away, And he commented to the Sangha that the Sangha now felt empty, this sense of loss. I don't think there's any sadness with that, not suffering, because this is the nature of reality. So I was very glad when I woke up and Ajahn Brahm was still alive. And he still is. I may well go before he does. But of course the Buddha says that there are two things in the world that are rare. And one of them is a grateful person, and the other is a person who does something for us without us asking. And I always add to that, hopefully it's something we want done. Because sometimes people do things and we think, well, I could have done without that, but still very good-hearted. So it's as I mentioned, this cultivating gratitude is well worth it. So why do we cultivate gratitude and thankfulness? Sometimes people think, well, I'm not going to be grateful about this and that because they don't deserve it. But it misses the point. We feel the feeling, actually, regardless of whether the person, the situation we are feeling grateful about is actually the way we think it is. We feel this feeling of gratitude and thankfulness. And it leads to the sense of contentment and mental and happiness. So it's a very positive emotion that leads to well-being. So just in itself, that's a worthwhile reason for developing more of it. And as I mentioned, it overcomes all that wanting mind, the to-get list. There's the to-do list and the to-get list that we have. It overcomes that because we realise, there's so much that I already have. It's enough, really. And it also is a very good antidote for depression, for anxiety, because it helps with that sense of connection, as is giving. Giving is also a very good way. I call it the best antidepressant, giving, because it creates that sense of connection for us with other people. And it brings up this joy, this happiness, this warm feeling inside of us. So, and of course, when we have this sense of gratitude, we've developed it quite a lot in our lives. When things are difficult, when times are difficult, we can remember how much we have to be grateful for, how we can count our blessings, as they say in the old English saying. So now that's time for another Nasrudin story, because now it's a double Nasrudin story in this talk. And so one day Nasrudin's donkey disappeared, and this donkey was not only his friend, it was his transport, and it was what he used for conveying goods to the market. And the villagers realised, this is really serious, the donkey's missing. And so they helped search for the donkey, but they couldn't find it anywhere. They looked everywhere. And they told Nasrudin that we think the donkey's gone for good. And that night, Nasrudin was heard in the centre of the village, this village square. They heard this voice saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And they realised it was Nasrudin. They thought, my goodness, he's really gone mad. Out of grief, he's gone mad. And so they came out of their houses and they asked, "Nasrudin, what are you thankful for? You've just lost your donkey." And Nasrudin said, "I'm so thankful I wasn't on the donkey when it disappeared." So Nasrudin always finding a silver lining to the cloud, isn't he? So, and of course, as I mentioned, with gratitude is free happiness, but he calls contentment, which gratitude leads to. They're all very close, these positive emotions, actually. He says contentment is a fast track to enlightenment. So if we want to develop contentment, just yesterday somebody was telling me about their meditation. They said, it wasn't going, it's not developing, and what can I do? I want to move on, I want to go deeper. And I said to her, develop contentment with just being where you are, and that will take you deeper. That sense of contentment is a very still, peaceful state of mind, and it brings that stability to the mind so it can go deeper. And of course the Buddha praised this fewness of desires, which gratitude brings up. And it's mentioned in the Metta Sutta, we just chanted actually. It's frugal in their ways, I think. And it's an antidote, as I mentioned, to wanting. And also it's an antidote too when we don't want something, when our desires become frustrated, we get negative, angry and so on. If we can just remember the things we're grateful about, especially in relation to that person that we may be upset with. And that person may be ourselves, isn't it? That's the case. And of course gratitude creates this sense of connection, because we are all very interdependent and we rely on each other. And so this allows us to recognise these connections. We're grateful for what others have done for us, and it's also a sign of spiritual maturity, actually, when we are grateful. We're developing good qualities. And of course, why we develop gratitude, it's an antidote to selfishness too, always thinking about ourselves, what I need, what I want, what I don't want, and which is not a very happy life. It's a state, a lot of desire. You can see it, desire usually, and wanting, craving we call it, leads to a feeling of lack. It's far from a happy state of mind. You know, we may not get what we want, so there's fear in that. And of course, gratitude encourages us to, as an antidote to pride. We realise so much of what we have in life is due to others, how much we have benefited from others. And it can be our teachers, our parents, our partners, and of course we can be grateful too for this body and mind. And in meditation, gratitude is fantastic. I think it's one of a very positive emotion. Hopefully you experience some of that in that very short meditation. Because it really, what these positive emotions do, why we bring them up at the beginning of a meditation, is to overcome the 5 hindrances, which the Buddha says are the things that stand between us and deep meditation. They're also the same things that stand between us and wisdom, really understanding how things are. So it's a very useful emotion for developing at the beginning of a meditation, and can lead us into, say, loving kindness meditation. And we can use it to infuse the meditation, give it this feeling of gratefulness, of thankfulness. And when we have this happiness in the mind, it can give rise to what the Buddha calls pamoja, gladness, and then it can give rise to a sense of rapture in the body, and feels like the body, but it's obviously mental, and then give rise to tranquility, and then give rise to happiness, then samadhi. So it's a contributing factor that can really start the fire of gladness and bring up rapture and all these other positive qualities. So I'd like to focus too now on how we honour a teacher through gratitude and respect, because I've mentioned that already, but that's a very important thing for us to do. It's not only with Ajahn Brahm, of course, there are other teachers. I've had many teachers actually, and I'm always grateful to them for their contribution in my life. But I'm always very, very grateful to Ajahn Brahm. Why? He ordained me. So that I'm very grateful, and this is a very rare opportunity. Ajahn Brahm often mentions, of course, and I think most of you will remember to the Buddha's advice in the Parinibbana Sutta about how one really honours and pays respect to a teacher, to himself, to the Tathagata. And of course he mentions that it is not through candles, incense and flowers, though as I mentioned this morning, those things can bring up a very positive emotion for us when we do offer. But he said it's not through those things, it's through our practice of what he taught us, our practice of the Noble Eightfold Path. And in particular, often when they mention this quotation, it's to make an island unto ourselves, make the Dhamma as our island. And it's usually in terms of developing the 4 focuses of mindfulness. We call it satipatthana, But the Buddha uses the same simile of the island for other positive qualities we can develop. And of course, it's not only for our spiritual teachers, it's true of any teacher, and very true of our parents too. If they see, these teachers or our parents see us developing good qualities that they've encouraged us to develop, that brings them a lot of happiness and satisfaction. They can feel, yeah, it was worth it. And I'm sure many parents, it's quite a job to bring up children in the world. And it's getting more difficult in some respects these days. So by practicing what Ajahn Brahm has taught us, of course, we can pay respects to him and give him thanks for all that he has given. And I've mentioned all these things probably before. His teachings, which various teachings will touch us. Some of the deeper teachings will touch some people. Some of the other teachings have been, like he gives Friday night talks in Western Australia, and they're much lighter Dhamma. And it's a very good way for people who to become acquainted with the Dhamma, to be introduced to the Dhamma, using humour and many stories. And as I mentioned, he's a great example of how to walk the Noble Eightfold Path. He's a role model for us. And what I find, the qualities I find that are such a role model for me are the naturalness, the joy, the happiness, and what we sometimes use, a bit old-fashioned now, called pizzazz. He's got this sparkle to him. And of course, as I mentioned, his guidance too for us as individuals. I think many of you have spoken to Ajahn Brahm and in interviews or just asked him questions about what's going on in your meditation, in your life, and he's helped. And the same for the Buddhist Society of Victoria. He's been through many of the ups and downs, and he's still with us, which is wonderful. And of course we can be thankful for his humour. I mentioned that before. And I'm sure each of us may have our favourite joke. One of my favourites, because it's so awful, it was the joke about the carrot who got hit by a car. A carrot who got hit by a car and was taken to hospital. He was in ICU. He was in actually the operating theatre, and he was being operated on. And it was a very long operation. And his friends, other vegetables, were outside waiting for him. And the doctor came out and said, "I've got some good news. He's pulled through. I've got some bad news. He'll always be a vegetable." Terrible, isn't it? But I quite liked it. And you might have experienced it too. He's got this incredible lightning wit too that he just comes out of nowhere, actually. I read a recent example which I thought I appreciated because I had been on a pilgrimage with Ajahn Brahm in 2001, and we were in Kathmandu, and we were at the airport, I think, flying down to Lumbini, that's right. And we saw this Buddha Air airline. It's called Buddha Air. Can you believe it? And just recently I saw I saw it written actually, and I thought, wow, that's clever. It said, Ajahn Brahm said, Buddha Air with insight service. Not in flight, insight service. And of course, as I mentioned, he saved many people's lives. He made a very big difference. Some people just on the point of, suicide or even euthanasia, and he's literally turned their lives around. And for him, it really gives him a sense of satisfaction that it's been well worth all the service, all the work that he's done. And because he's given these people, he's given us a new direction in life, given us a meaning to life that we may not have had before, seeing it in a different way. So it's a wonderful thing that you can give to somebody. And I mentioned, of course, his material support for the Newbury Buddhist Monastery has been fantastic, and that we wouldn't be where we are without him. So it's quite extraordinary support. So I think each and every one of us at Newbury Buddhist Monastery, here at the Buddhist Society of Victoria, can definitely say, sadhu, 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 So I think we have a little bit of time for any questions, if there are any questions. And then, actually we could even... Just one or two, and then we can do the dedication of merits.
Ajahn, we'd have to... Is this one? It is. Ajahn, we'll have to do only visiting audience questions.
All
today,
right.
We've got an internet outage, so...
All right. Are there any
questions?
questions before we do the chanting, the dedicating of the merit from today? There we are. About gratitude, about Ajahn Brahm. Already touching stories about Ajahn Brahm. There we are. Oh, very good. That's good. Maybe you've got very peaceful. I often say after a guided meditation, any comments, questions or complaints? And usually there are none. I'm very pleased because I think the mind has got quiet, a little bit quieter than usual, so that's not bad. And so now I think we can continue with the dedication of merit. And of course, today we're dedicating the merit of our practice, the taking of the 5 precepts. It's not only the taking, of course, keeping them is the main thing. Taking's very easy. Keeping them is another story. And that's what's transformational, when we actually keep the 5 precepts. And of course, today there will be giving as well in terms of food and other things. So this is giving. We can that merit can be included in this dedication. And of course, the dedication includes the merit from meditating together. Hopefully some people got in touch with that feeling of thankfulness, gratitude. And of course, dedication of merit can include listening to Dhamma. Because sometimes when we listen to the Dhamma, it really touches us, and some things are very helpful and useful for our practice, for our lives. So these things we can all dedicate to Ajahn Brahm today. And I'd like to encourage everyone here, the monks, the nuns, of course, and all the people here in the hall, and all the people online, if this outage is not still going on. We're living in these times with outages of power or whatever, so now we can do this dedication of merit chant. So I think this will be very familiar to many of the Sri Lankan traditional Buddhists will know this, a lot of it. Right. Etavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang Sambe deva namodantu samba sambhati siddhya Etavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang Sambe buddha anumodantu samba sambhati siddhya Etavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang Sambe satta anumodantu samba sambhati siddhya Akasata chabumata deva naga mahindika Punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakantu sasanam Akasata chabumata Deva naga mahindika punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakantu desanam akazatan chabumatan deva naga mahindika punyang tang anumoditva, chirang rakantu twang sanda. And now for those that have passed away, idang bonyati nang hotu sukida hontinyatayo. Idang bonyati nang hotu sukida hontinyatayo. Idang bonyati nang hotu sukida hontinyatayo. And now the blessing. Yata varivaha pura paripurenti sagarang evam eva ito dinang petanang upakappati ichitang patitang tumhang kippameva samijatu sabbe purentu sankapa chando panarazo yatamani jyoti razo yata Sambaroga vinimuto sambasanda pavajito sambaveramati kanto nibuto chatuang bhava sambitio vivajantu Sambarogo vinasatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava abhivadana silisa nija buddha pachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vadanti Ayuvano Sukhang Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sangha Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Iminate Samijatu Bhavatu Samba Mangalam Rakantu Samba Devata Samba Buddham Nubhavena Sadasoti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Samba Mangalam Rakantu Samba Devata Samba Dhammanubhavena Sandasoti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Samba Mangalam Rakantu Samba Devata Samba Sanghanubhavena Sandasoti Bhavantu Te Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. So that concludes the program, the showing gratitude to Ajahn Brahm on the occasion of his 71st birthday through our practice, brief practice, and hopefully our practice before that too, of giving, of generosity, of keeping ethical precepts, 5 precepts, and of developing the mind through meditation. And these are all very fitting gifts for a teacher like Ajahn Brahm, for any teacher, spiritual teacher. These will be really appreciated, will give rise to a sense of satisfaction and happiness for that teacher. Just as the Buddha, when he was teaching so many people, just to see that so many actually attained enlightenment, stages of enlightenment. That must have given a sense of happiness and well-being, a sense of driven by mudita, this joy that these people had actually realized the Dhamma for themselves and have found the way out of being born again and again, the way out of samsara. So now we can finish off by paying respects to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, and then I invite everyone to come over for the shared meal, and to have that communal lunch together to offer to the Sangha. And it's quite a big Sangha today. We have 3 monks and 3 nuns, so that's wonderful. I must admit, when I'm at Newbury at the lunch dana, and I see that we have another nun, actually, she's not here today, so 4 nuns, and actually there's 1 in Hong Kong, so there's 5 nuns really, which will be coming back in October, and the 5 monks. It's amazing. I think, wow, 9 Sangha members. This is incredible in Victoria, or in Australia indeed, to have so many monastics in the robes to offer to. Wonderful. It's very inspiring, and of course hopefully it inspires people in this community to think of ordaining, to think of dedicating their lives to practice and to developing the path to awakening, to enlightenment. And that's what the monastic path is about. So hopefully it inspires people. And I always feel, in my case in particular, I was a member of the BSV, the Buddhist Society of Victoria, as a layperson. So I hope it's encouraging for people to see, yes, he became a monk. And I know others that were members of the Buddhist Society of Victoria became monks and nuns too. So this is the idea of providing a facility like Newbury Buddhist Monastery for ordination, for those men and women who are able to ordain. And it's also there to provide a place for the lay community to practice meditation, stay at the monastery, and develop the path for themselves too. So it's a community. Newbury is for the whole of the Buddhist community, everyone. So now, if you would like to, we can pay respects to the Buddha and Dhamma and Sangha, where it all came from. Gee, you finished early. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivadi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami. So thank you for coming for this celebration, this birthday bonanza. And please come next door if you have the time to share the meal, to make offerings to the Sangha, and to have a nice meal together. All right? Thank you.